I'd like to call the public hearing for Tangipahoa Parish Council for January 2024 to order, and we have 4 items on the public hearing. Before I get into that, I just want to introduce that our mayor from Kentwood is here, Ms. Irma Gordon. Just want to acknowledge you. Thanks for coming this evening. Okay. And the first item on the public hearing is a condemnation hearing, 44246 Parker Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana, assessment 3202909. Is anyone here to speak on that matter? All right, there being no one, we'll move to the next one.
Jeffrey was going to speak.
I'm sorry, Jeffrey, I forgot. Yeah, Jeffrey, you need to come up. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. This particular condemnation hearing relative to 44246 Parker Boulevard in District 7, Councilman Wells District. On June 7th, 2023, we indicated through a red placard, we posted on the property that the structure on that property was in bad shape. On October 12th, we mailed a courtesy notice, basically just tried to reach out to the property owner. No one lives at this particular address. No one lives in the structure. We brought it to council on November 27th, and we passed resolution R23-46 with an 8-0 vote with 2 absent to move forward with the condemnation. And what that includes is it's just to order an abstract to notify all parties that might have interest in this particular property. That abstract was completed on December 14th, and we sent out notices to all the interested parties on December 18th. Here we are today, and to date there's been no progress with that particular structure on that property. Any questions on that particular assessment?
No, I would just ask, is anyone here, is the owner here to speak on that? Mr. Wells would like to speak.
Mr. Chairman, it's a classic example of blighted property, and it's been that way for quite some time. I mean, early on I got several calls, but I haven't received any calls. But that's from the neighbors complaining.
Okay.
But I haven't received any calls recently, so we can go for it.
All right, but is the owner here tonight? Don't think so, okay?
No, I don't.
We can move on to the next one.
The next one is interesting. It's 2 assessments, assessment 978418 and assessment 3617300. That's at 49385 Whiskey Lane in Tickfall, District 5, and that's Councilman Ridgel. This is unique because the house is situated between 2 parcels of land. So it's unique because it went through a tax sale. But needless to say, on June 7th, I placed a red placard on the property notifying the property owner to contact our office. No one does live in the residence. On October 12th, I mailed a courtesy notice. November 27th, the council passed a resolution to move forward with the condemnation with the 8-0 vote. And on December 14th, we conducted an abstract. During that abstract, that's when the abstract attorney indicated that that we should notify all parties on both parcels that might have a vested interest in this particular structure. We did that on December 18th, 2023, and notified them of this hearing. To date, there's been no progress to rectify the structure, and it is still abandoned and in bad condition.
Okay, before I turn to Mr. Ridgel, I'll ask, is the owner here present this evening, would like to speak on this, have any questions, would like to rebuttal? Mr. Ridgel?
We spoke before the meeting.
Mike,
Spoke before the meeting, and I told him to go ahead with the next procedure, whatever the next step is, and
Yes, sir.
certainly want to get the building down. I'm getting calls from the residents, and so whatever the next step is, I'm good with.
Okay, we'll do that later in the meeting. Give them so many days on recommendation of these guys to go ahead and proceed. We'll finalize that during the regular meeting. And the third one is condemnation hearing 11054, Highway 42, Tickfall, Louisiana, 70466, assessment 1099205, and that is in District Number 4.
Yes, sir. This is actually Jerry McDowell's case. He's been sick, so I'm going to handle it for him tonight. It's assessment 1099205, 11054 Highway 442 West in Tangipahoa District 4, Councilman Havis. Mr. McDowell sent a notification through a red placard on June 6, 2023, communicating with the owner. The owner does actually live on this particular property, but there are 4 structures on that property. There's 2 recreational vehicles and 2 manufactured homes. He communicated with that particular property owner. On August 14th, it was brought to council with the resolution 23-27 voted 10-0 to move forward with the condemnation. December 14th, an abstract was completed and notification was given to those property owners on December 28th, 2023. There's 2 structures in question on this property, those 2 mobile homes. One of those mobile homes, he attempted to tear it down, but he has not completed. Half of it's there, half of it's not. And the other one, he hasn't had any progress with it. So it still needs to move forward with the condemnation.
All right, again, I'll ask, is the owner of this condemnation, 11054 Highway 42 Tangipahoa here this evening? If you would you like to speak on this matter? The owner is not here. Mr. Havis?
I'm not too familiar with this, but this particular property is over by Woodhaven Road and 442,
It's right across the street from a church.
Little River Church.
Yes, sir.
I know
It was
what you're
actually a church member that was the complainant, from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad shape, so we probably need to, like Mr. Buddy, move
Yes, sir.
forward to the next step.
And we'll do that later in the meeting. It comes up again where we set the time and date, those kind of things. Anyone else have any questions on any of these matters? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The last item is ordinance 2401, an ordinance to authorize the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government to accept the donation of immovable properties and assets from Eastern Heights Waterworks Association, Inc., and to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to sign any and all documents in regard to the acceptance of the aforementioned donation. Mr. Miller?
All right, good evening. As we all know, Eastern Heights has been struggling with their water for the last at least year on our part that we've stepped in as parish government. It was a private company established in 1965 and still operates as a private company. In December of 2022, because of the freeze in that December around Christmas time, we signed an emergency declaration which gave the Tangipahoa Water District, separate entity from us, the ability to help that system, whether it be through some parts and so forth, as definitely with manpower. Made it through the December freeze event. Immediately in January of 23, we began negotiations first with Eastern Heights, determining whether they were going to be able to invest in their company or with our encouragement, I guess you'd say, for them to turn their system over to the Tangipahoa Water District. At the same time we were discussing those options with Eastern Heights, we were also discussing those options with the Tangi Water District, because it wasn't an automatic that they wanted to take it. But through, and I will say I should have started this at the beginning, Chief Administrative Officer Joe Thomas has been intimately involved with this for the most part, at least weekly, probably since January of 23, if not almost daily. So in June of 23, Eastern Heights Board and their members voted to allow the takeover, basically turn the system over. Through the due diligence in September, the Water District and us realized that the property has liens on it. And the liens are somewhere in the neighborhood of $700,000. Well, we, parish government, can't take the assets with the liens, and neither can Tangi Water. So we have been working through the Louisiana Department of Health and the USDA to forgive those loans so that we can have the real property moved through parish government to the water district. Tonight's action is basically giving us the ability to act on the donation, the acceptance of donation and the transfer to the water district immediately upon our being noticed that the liens will be forgiven or taken care of another way. I can tell you that we've worked with Louisiana Department of Health, with the water district, on plans to incorporate Eastern Heights into the water district, to improve the existing system of Eastern Heights through borrowed money and grant money. Parish government has provided a mechanism for some revenue, with revenue, but for us to expend some parish dollars, some ARPA money up front, and then be repaid on the revenue side of it, stream of it, late over time, to help better water meters, better system. So I guess the point we're trying to make is that we know that it's a major issue. We've been working on it. Basically, I guess lack of a better term, it's a hostile takeover, was a hostile takeover of a private entity by a government, which is something that just, in most terms, you'd say should not happen. The private entity should take care of their business and handle their business. But we didn't want to see Eastern Heights sell their water company to another private company and be in this same boat in a few years again. We know our water district does a very good job at providing water throughout the parish, and this also expands the water district for us to know where our parish can grow and our parish can, our citizens can be provided good service. So with that being said, it's kind of just an overview. Any real nuts and bolts of the idea, Mr. Joe Thomas is here to talk about any of the real fine details if we need to get into that. But I'd encourage you guys to let us enter into those documents as quickly as possible. And I do, to add a note, we are headed to Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, and one of the meetings that we have is with the USDA, specifically about this project. So it's an ongoing effort to close the gap on time as quickly as possible. If you have any questions for me.
Any questions from Mr.
On
Miller
this
on this issue? Anyone?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the update. Okay, that's the last public hearing item. So I will close the public hearing, call the Tangipahoa Parish Council meeting to order. I'll ask you to please mute or turn your cell phone off. Invocation, Mr. Lewis Joseph will do the invocation, and I will lead us in the pledge.
Mr. Jesse, turn to Michael.
Heads bowed, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings we have received. We thank you for our health. Thank you for our strength. We thank you for our peace of mind. We thank you for our families and our friends. And Lord, help us to understand that in the midst of every difficulty, there's an opportunity. Bless this meeting tonight by giving the leadership, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, the compassion to do all those things that are pleasing in your sight. And we be ever mindful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. Lord, we ask for a special blessing for those whose responsibility it is to keep us safe and sound every day. Our first responders, our police officers, our 1.4 million active duty military personnel. Bless them, Lord. Bless their families. Again, we'll be ever mindful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. And Lord, we ask for a special blessing for Councilwoman Bridget Hyde and her family on the loss of a loved one. We ask that you throw your strong arm of protection around that family and keep them safe and sound. These blessings and all blessings we ask in your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name, and all the saints within the sound of my voice responded by saying, Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag, and all active military and veterans, please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Jill, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Sinagra.
Here.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Here.
Mr. Joseph.
Present.
Mr. Havis. Mr. Ridgel.
Here.
Mr. Mayhew.
Here.
Mr. Wells.
Here.
Mr. Bial.
Here.
Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Ms. Ciotat.
Here.
Okay, is there, adoption of the minutes, regular meeting dated January 8th, 2024. Is there a motion?
Yes, so moved.
Mr. Joseph was the first, who was the second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ingraffia. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes. Okay, public input. Anyone wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing? Don't hear of any. Okay, we'll get into the parish president's report. Mr. Miller?
Guess I could have just stayed here. All right. First item on the Parish President's report is the finance report. All of you should have an emailed copy of the finance report. Obviously, as always, if you have any specific questions about that report, please reach out to our staff. They'll be glad to get you any details that you need from that. The next item is a proclamation of Catholic Schools Week. That is January the 29th through the February 3rd. And we have a proclamation thanking our Catholic schools for being here in the parish and recognizing that it's Catholic Schools Week.
Is there a motion?
I don't know, do you have to have one?
It's proclamation. You want me to read it? Okay. All right,
So
good.
we'll pass that along. Mr.
Okay.
David and I signed it.
Okay.
The next item does require approval. Approval of the annual pay increases per the Home Rule Charter for Chief Administrative Officer Joe Thomas, Director of Finance Missy Coward, Director of Human Resources Rashonda Johnson, Public Works Director Andy Career. I'm proposing a 3% raise for those and would ask for your support. These are the 4 positions that you as a council have to approve.
Any questions on that? Did I hear a motion? That was Ms. Hyde with the motion. Is there a
Second.
second? By Mr.
Yes.
Joseph. Call roll, please.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you very much, and on behalf of those 4 folks, they truly appreciate you, always, and especially right now. Next item is approval of the bid for installation of the electrical infrastructure at the GOSEP Region 9 Distribution Warehouse. That's in Independence. We had several bidders. We had a mandatory visit on site. All of them were there, walked through, looked at everything that needed to be done. And the low bidder was Sharkey Mechanical Services for $259,995. Their bid meets all the requirements, and we ask for your approval.
So moved.
Mr. Joseph, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second was Mr. Havis. Quite a difference in the bids, huh?
Yeah, there's a little bit.
$489,000 and $259,000 being the low.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Call roll, please.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Thank you. It passes 10-0. Any other questions from Mr. Miller? Anything else you have, Mr. Miller?
I don't have anything else. If there's no questions, any questions? Great,
Okay,
thank y'all very
you.
much.
Thank you. Under regular business, we have a presentation by the LSU Ag Center. And if you would, just give us your name and address for the record, please.
Whitney Wallace, LSU Ag Center.
Thank you.
All right, so I am super excited to be here this evening. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Whitney Wallace. I'm the parish chair and the extension forestry agent for the LSU Ag Center. Our office is here tonight to present to you the programming impacts since our last report to the council. Many of you may be familiar with our faces already, but if not, allow me to introduce you to some of our staff here tonight. We have Miss Melissa Ordon, our secretary, Miss Cassie Fonts, 4-H agent, Miss Donna Landry, our nutrition agent, Miss Angela Miles, 4-H agent, and who could not be here tonight was our horticulturalist, Clark Robertson. Oh, Mary Helen, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. And Mary Helen, Dr. Mary Helen Ferguson. She slipped in, I did not see her, I'm so sorry. I was looking at Angela, didn't look any further. Clark Robertson wasn't able to be here tonight, and Dr. Gary Hay. So with the folders that you just received, I just wanted to be able to share some of the great things that we're doing. So if you look really quickly, you'll notice on your left side, that is all the programming impact numbers from Tangipahoa Parish that we have been able to be able to do since our last report. It's really detailed, it goes into a lot of information, but I think it's something that you guys want to look at and that you can hold on. If you have ever had questions, you'll be able to look back and see exactly what we've done. On the right-hand side, you'll see some of it's not all of it, but it's just a snippet of some of the publications, newsletters, and things that we're able to provide to the residents of Tangipahoa Parish whenever they come to us for resources. So again, if you're not familiar with LSU Ag Center, we focus on research, extension, and teaching and making advances that, of course, are going to benefit the residents of all in the state of Louisiana, but especially here in Tangipahoa Parish, because that's where our office is. Our educational efforts span nutrition, health, food safety, backyard gardening, disaster preparedness, storm recovery, especially during Ida, youth development, managing insects, natural threats, economic development, resource conservation, and so much more. We provide to individuals, families, businesses, schools, industries, governments, all with valuable information aimed at improving economic conditions, general wellness, and quality of life. So basically, our outreach, we're taking the research from LSU on campus and putting it into the hands of the people. So that might be your horticulturalist who solves your problem with the carpenter bees, or the forestry agent that saves your beloved oak tree, or figures out, why your trees are dying during the drought, or the nutrition educator who teaches you a healthier way to live, or that 4-H advisor that inspires your growth to your child. So we are the extension agents of the LSU Ag Center, and we are fielding questions every day from homeowners, farmers. We're hosting programs, holding classes. We're right here in Tangipahoa Parish in the schools. We're building partnerships and applying that research. So instead of just more of your traditional model of teaching classes and working with families one-on-one, we are looking at innovative approaches with the entire community. And so just to let you know, we're funded by so many different areas, partnerships with federal, state, and local governments, grants and contracts, and private funds. So, and with that, I'm pleased to highlight some of the impacts, this is just a little bit, of the efforts in Tangipahoa Parish. So our horticulturalists and master gardeners in the parish have shown exceptional dedication, contributing over 3,364 volunteer service hours. Guys, that's a value of over $92,000. That is wonderful for this parish. Their efforts have not only enhanced the aesthetics of the parish, but also have led to an increase in gardening, fostering a culture of environmental stewardship and sustainable horticulture practices. Moving on to livestock, that's super important for our parish. Our livestock division has played a pivotal role in advancing the agricultural landscape of the parish by supporting over 20 sessions of the Tangipahoa Parish Master Cattleman Program. We've reached over 400 participants. Furthermore, our efforts have contributed to the growth of dairy and goat industries. Goat is huge right now, positioning Tangipahoa Parish as a prominent dairy-producing parish in Louisiana. Whitney Wallace, myself, I'm the Extension Forestry Agent for the Southeast region. So my duties lie in raising awareness about sustainable forestry practices, conservation, economic and ecological significance of our forest land. So with the last couple of years, we've had a lot of challenges in forestry, whether that's from hurricane recovery with Ida, all the way to the recent drought that we had over the summer. So we have shifted and mitigated a lot of those efforts and trying to reach those challenges with our private landowners and being able to just mitigate those efforts there. Moving on to Tangipahoa Parish 4-H, with approximately 754 students, this program has made substantial strides in youth development. We've witnessed a surge in enrollment, with over 1,000 youth participating since our lowest numbers of COVID. That's a true, we are so super excited about that. Notably, our Shooting Sports Project Club, Poultry Project Club, Livestock Project Club, they've experienced increased participation all the way around. That reflects our diverse and engaging opportunities provided by Tangipahoa Parish 4-H. Our two agents right here, Miss Angela Miles, Miss Cassie Fonts, they've hit the ground running. We're excited to see our program and where it's going to go and to offer all these diverse opportunities from the tip top of the north of the parish all the way down to the south end. If you want to see for yourself, we would like to invite you to come to any of our events. You can be a spectator, a judge, a volunteer. We'll take you however we can get you. In fact, we have a parish livestock show coming up at the arena this weekend, which would be a fabulous way to be able to see what our youth are doing in the parish. But if you can't, that's okay. We've got plenty of pictures on social media. We are doing things every day, in the evenings, at nighttime, and that is one way to keep up with us. And not last but least, now it's time for our nutrition. Our nutrition educator here is fabulous. And I'm not sure if you're aware of some of the work she's done, but students are not only learning about nutrition, but actively participating in the nurturing and maintenance of their school gardens. Through collaborative efforts, we had 20 new garden beds that were donated through schools to Champ Cooper, Regina Celli, Robert Head Start, and Central Tangi Head Start. These garden beds have not only enhanced the learning environment, but they provided students with a tangible connection to nature and wholesome foods. We've also had connections with Amite High special ed class that's been particularly inspiring, as students are actively engaged in an educational experience, including SNAP Ed nutritional education classes. They go on grocery store tours, cooking classes, and they enjoy tons of physical activities, and you can see that in some of the pictures that we've got there in the folder for you. Moreover, our partnership with Tangipahoa Parish Libraries has extended the reach of nutrition education to diverse age groups with approximately 75 to 100 participants benefiting SNAP Ed nutrition and My Plate lessons. I could go on and on. We've gotten so many partnerships with Tangipahoa Parish Council on Aging, partnerships with like community gardens at the First Christian Church of Hammond. The list kind of goes on, and I know my time's getting short. So in conclusion, the combined efforts of our agricultural agents, educators, community partners, and organizations have significantly enriched the fabric of Tangipahoa Parish. And these initiatives have not only enhanced the agricultural landscape, but have nurtured a culture of health, wellness, and community engagement. We want to thank you for your attention and continued support of these invaluable endeavors, because we couldn't do it without you. And we want you to know that, and thank you very much. Our office would like to invite you to reach out with any questions you guys might have for clarifications regarding our programming, and we'll give you the information you need, and your engagement and input are invaluable where we work. And we are Tangi proud, so thank you.
We want to thank you and your staff for all of your hard work, and you got a lot in a few minutes.
I did. I didn't even take a breath.
We're going to open up to any questions from the council. Okay.
I just want to thank you guys for what you do. I love 4-H. I've been volunteering for over 11 years. My daughter's 20, and I'm still doing the 4-H club at St. Joseph. She's been through high school, and I'm still at St. Joe. I took off about 2 years, and Strader filled in for me, and when her daughters went to high school, I went back there. And I'm also very involved with the shooting sports program. But she mentioned Cassie and Angela, and you guys have done an amazing job this year. I think they both started about a week before school started.
Yes.
So when she says they hit the road running, they just got thrown into it. But it's a great program. I would encourage anybody to volunteer, be a part of it, but mostly encourage your kids to be a part of it. People are scared of 4-H because they think they have to buy a cow and put it in their backyard, but there are so many things. You know, they do a lot with STEM programs, and just there's so many neat programs that they have for the kids. So I would encourage you to get involved.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
And I have one more comment. I think, Mr. Lewis, do you have any comments? Or anybody? But my grandson is in 4-H. He's in the archery and other things. He happens to live over in St. Tammany Parish, but he's involved in that program. And I went to some of the competitions last year. It's pretty neat, really was.
It is.
Really was.
So
Anyone
much
else?
more.
Yeah, a lot of the things that y'all are doing, I was watching Councilman Wells. He taught that subject at Hammond High School.
Yeah. So he's very familiar.
I know he wants to say something.
No, I don't have too much to say, but I know there's a person that's working with a nonprofit. That is working with a nonprofit for us, so he has contacted you guys and continue to be in communication.
Very good.
And thank you very much.
Thank
But
you.
I was kind of amazed at the raised garden, they really looked good.
I forgot something I wanted to mention. Miles Sinagra's in the back, Councilman Sinagra's son. He and another student who went through shooting sports have actually gotten certified, and now as adults, they're back helping coach the future kids. So it's just a neat program that you can be involved with for the rest of your life. So, thank y'all.
Thank you for
And
allowing us to report.
I just want to thank y'all for supporting agriculture. You know, it was a big part of this parish for a long time. It's not as strong as it used to, but we still have a lot. And, you know, with y'all supporting it, we appreciate it because everybody likes to eat every day.
We're going to bring the next generation.
Again, thank you very much. Okay, let's see here. Okay. All right, we're on item 6, discussion of possible action on condemnation. This is 44246 Parker Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403, assessment 320-2909. And this is in your district, Mr. Wells, and we can either vote for parish to demo or give the owner X amount of days to demo himself. There is a recommendation from the administration, but it's really up to you, of 30 days for that, but it's really your call.
We haven't heard anything from anybody, you know, concerning the property to this date, but I would favor us giving them, you know, some additional time.
All right, and how much time would you prefer there, Mr. Wells? You make the motion and just include your time,
30 days.
okay? Mr. Wells made the motion, and the number of days to demo themselves is 30. Can we call roll, please? Is there a second? Second, please.
I'll second it.
Mr. Mayhew's the second.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Mr. Vial, if you don't mind, just so you understand, we'll notify the property owner that you've made a motion for 30 days in this case and whatever on
Yes,
these others.
yes.
And then at that 30-day mark, if they have not, then we will begin the process
Yes,
to contract.
yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you. We won't be there on day 31
Yeah,
to
I
tear it
wasn't
down.
as
is my
explicit,
point.
but they get the 30 days, and then we begin the process after that.
Yeah, we won't be there on the 31st day, but once and then again to the property owners, if we sign the contract, it's done.
Yes.
Now, why are you not going to be there on the 31st day? I'm kidding, Ronnie.
I will.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thanks for
President.
clearing that up.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Okay, item 7, discussing possible action on condemnation, 49385 Whiskey Lane, Tickfaw, Louisiana, 70466, assessment 3617300, and assessment 978418. And I'm going to do a little sidebar here, but Mr. Pullman, I think the gentleman in the yellow shirt has showed up a little bit late. And I spoke with Mr. Rizzo. He'd like to come to the mic and have a few words to say on this one. If you'd give us your name and address, please.
I'm Greg Putnam.
Putnam, I'm sorry.
Greg Putnam.
Okay,
I've got a tax deed on the property, and my address is in New Orleans. It's 316 Papworth. Well, it's actually Metairie, Louisiana, 7005.
thank you, sir.
And I want to apologize for my tardiness. I don't know if you are aware, it's kind of hard to get hay, and I had a guy in Mississippi who's going to give me hay at 4:30.
Ask
So,
Mr. Ingraffia about that.
My cows demanded that I take them as a higher priority, unfortunately. I purchased the tax deed on this in June, and honestly, until just a couple of days ago, I've never even seen the property. Normally, that process for a tax deed takes minimum of 3 years before I could really do anything, but what I have done is sent a letter to the actual owner who lives out of state, and I'm going to try to clear it up through a normal process, and then I want to go in and repair the property.
All right,
Well, I'll tell you.
Mr. Rizzo?
You gonna repair what that building looks like now?
I'm sorry?
You can repair that building based on what it looks like now?
Yeah, it's not going to be that bad. I've done way worse than that in the past. I've been doing renovations for 40 years. I have a full-time crew. Not a large crew, but
Let me
Take it,
ask,
take it.
gentlemen, now, under the circumstances, would I give 30 days to see some some progress being made? I'm not waiting 3 years, I can tell you
No,
that.
no, no. It's going to take me about 30 days to know if these people are going to cooperate and allow me to take control of the property. If not, it would be a 3-year process, and the best thing for me would be for y'all to demo the building at that point. But I think I can, I mean, if they're going to be reasonable, I'll know in at least in 30 days. And I was going to get back with him and let him know after that.
I spoke to Mr. Gregg in the lobby briefly, and, you know, he's going to have an uphill battle. The structure itself is in bad condition.
It is a mess.
Our building official did go out there with me, and we looked at it, and, you know, anything can be fixed. It's just the amount of money it takes. It is a safety issue, so I wouldn't think that we'd kick this down the road for 3 years.
No.
But I do
Agreed.
think that there needs to be something done, at least within 60 days, to remedy the situation. If he can get things situated with the current owner, and he applies for a renovation permit, and he has the ability to do that, then I think that we'd be okay with kicking it down the road. But until he does that, we're gonna have to move forward with it. So my recommendation on it would be give him 60 days to get this ironed out as best he can. Once that 60 days is up, then we're gonna notify all the interested parties that they need to remove any contents that they have, like the parish president indicated with the other properties, and then we'll start demolition.
And that's
Sounds good.
exactly what I was asking for.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And glad you got your hay also.
That's a miracle.
Yes, sir.
So
Okay, item
I
7.
also move for the 60 days.
So 60 days, and the 60 days would be for him to get, I think I wrote this down, to either, to apply for his remodel permit. Is that what I'm hearing? Jeffrey? Renovation. Jeff? Am I hearing it would be 60 days for him to apply for a renovation, or, give me some language here Mr. Ridgel can use to apply this
I
down.
think if he's given 60 days to either apply for renovation permit
Okay,
or to demo the structure,
okay.
and if he fails to do that in the 60 days or given time, then he would, then we would move forward with tearing the house down. I mean, he's going to have an uphill battle, but
Okay.
but since he did show up today, and I have communication with him, I think he has the intent to correct the situation.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to be able to, since there's another owner, but we'll give him a chance.
All right. Mr. Ridgel?
Yeah, also move.
All right, is there a second? Second by Mr. Wells. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat? Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
All right, we were 10-0. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on condemnation, 11054 Highway 442, Tickfaw. The recommendation on this one is 30 days, and this is Mr. Havis.
So I'm kind of familiar with this area now that I got to thinking about it. I'd go ahead with the recommendation, do 30 days.
For 30 days to demo themselves, or give them 30 days to demo themselves. Okay, or we will take action after 30 days. Okay, that's the first by Mr. Havis. Is there a second?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph is the second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat? Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Okay. Item 9 is I've sent out the council committees, and I did par them down a little bit. Finance budget is active as usual. The jail committee, I think there'll be some activity there. I know some things going on with the jail. Developmental regs will continue on. The railroad committee, because we always seem to bump into the railroad, and Mr. Mayhew likes to call Chicago a lot. The garbage committee, we have to talk about the possibility of a RFP or a new contract by, I think it's end of May. Personnel committee will be active, and then I did put one on here because some of you guys have talked about maybe consolidating some lighting districts, or maybe some new lighting districts, and so I put that on there. And I know that Mr. Wells had talked about it, Mr. Mayhew, John had talked about it because he's got one in Robert that he lost, so I put those names on there.
I make a motion, we approve the committee appointments.
It's not necessary.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, but that's what they are. Okay, let's see. Under adoption of ordinances, adopt Tangipahoa Parish Ordinance 24-1, and this is the ordinance to authorize the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government to accept the donation of immovable properties and assets from Eastern Heights Waterworks Association, Inc., and to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to sign any and all documents in regard to the acceptance of the aforementioned donation. This is just a follow-up from the public hearing. Mr. Miller.
I was just remiss earlier in the public hearing piece that need to commend Charles Schlicker and his staff at the Water District for stepping up, although we did do an emergency declaration and almost forced them to do it, but they were very willing and have continued to work throughout this process. They've probably gone above and beyond, and they had their own water issues going on with some breaks and so forth. So I just want to tell Charles and his group, thank you very much for working with us on this, and the whole board for agreeing to take this on. And it's consumed a lot of their time and energy, and just want to thank them for that.
Yeah, and commend them for their hard work during the recent freeze, too. They really did a good job. I know Mr. Havis talked to them every now and then. Okay. Is there a motion?
I will gladly make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Havis is the first. Mr. Joseph is the second. Call roll, please.
Mr. Vial?
Yeah.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yeah.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Now we get an introduction of ordinances. A public hearing on this one will be Monday, February the 12th. Introduction of Tangipahoa Parish Ordinances 24-2, an ordinance establishing 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign on Stewart Road in District Number 3. Mr. Joseph?
So moved. I've spoken with the staff, and it's a good recommendation.
Mr. Joseph is the first. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Who was the second there? Mr. Ingraffia?
Yeah.
Was it?
Sinagra.
Mr. Sinagra, I'm sorry. All right, would you call roll, please?
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yeah.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yep.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes. Okay, the next one is adoption of a resolution 2401, a resolution of Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government supporting recovery proposal through the Louisiana Office of Community Development Disaster Allocations. Anybody here to speak on that one?
This is one of those resolutions we have to have in place to be able to have money come through the state, the feds, through Office of Community Development, for us to be able to accept grants and going forward.
So moved.
A second.
Mr. Joseph is the first, Mr. Wells is the second. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Okay. Now we have some board appointments. That was 10-0. First board appointment is Hospital District 2, reappoint John Tree Smith, first term after serving an unexpired term. District 3, Mr. Joseph. And do we want to take these together? And the other one is reappointment of Randy Bracy, a second term, District 1, Mr. Sinagra. Want to take those together?
Yes.
Sounds like we do here. First from Mr. Joseph and a second
Yes.
from Mr. Sinagra. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Okay, passes 10-0. The next one is the sewer district appointment, reappointment of Mr. Samuel Richmond, second term, expires March 28th. District 10, that's Ms. Ciotat.
Yeah, I'd like to make that motion.
All right, first from Ms. Ciotat, is there a second? Second by Mr. Mayhew. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. Item 15, Tangipahoa Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau Tourism, reappoint Mr. Mason Foster. That would be his second term. And Mr. Ridgel, I think you originally
I'll
appointed
so
him.
move.
Okay, it's the first by Mr. Rizal. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Joseph. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 10-0. Industrial Development Board for the parish, reappoint Mr. Wade Smith. Second term, Mr. Mayhew.
I'll make that appointment.
Okay.
Motion.
That's the first. There's a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rizal. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat? Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0. We have any beer, wine, or liquor permits?
None.
There being none, we have any legal matters?
No, sir.
There being none, councilman privileges,
Yes, I have one.
Mr. Joseph.
I'd like for Mayor Gordon to come to the podium, please. She wants to express her gratitude for the help that
All right,
the parish
fantastic.
provided.
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph, for allowing me to speak tonight. Kentwood. Everyone knows that this week, last week, we kind of had a problem with our water. Actually, we was without water for a day and a half. But we made it. We're better now. I just want, on behalf of our town, our council persons, our citizens, myself, and I just want to thank you, our president, our councilman, Mr. Nick Joseph, and our Tangipahoa Parish government, even Mr. Charles Terrell and his group. Everybody came to our rescue, and we were just so thankful for that. You know, we wasn't used to being without water, so of course our citizens panicked, but we had to keep our heads together. What happened to us is we had a well that was, brand new well that was installed in 2017 at our maintenance yard, a 58,000 gallon well, 17 feet deep. Wednesday, around noon, our pressure started to drop, and the maintenance crew came in, and my top man, Mr. Russ, said, he said, Mayor, something's going on, the pressure's dropping, and we don't know why it's dropping. So we called all the maintenance guys in to put their heads together to spread out, go around town to try to find out why the pressure was dropping, and it was dropping rapidly. They came back in and said, we can't find anything out there. So our top guy said, you know what, we need to go to the well, the main well, to see if we can find anything wrong with it. So everybody went to the well. We didn't find anything. He said, well, Mayor, I got to climb up on top. I'm like, I don't think so. He said, I got to go in. He said, I got to get up there. I got to look to see in and see if anything is going on down. I said, no, I don't think so. He said, I got to do it, Mayor. So, well, we're going to call somebody in to help. So we called the fire department. They came, roped him up, and he got up there anyway. And sure enough, he looked down. He said, you know what? That flap valve is not opening and closing. It's at the very bottom of the well. That allows the water to go out. Wow. It wasn't opening it and closing, and it usually opened and closed automatically, but it wasn't doing that. So our water could not leave the well. The well was full of water. All the water was in the well. But earlier that morning, he had came in and said, Mayor, it seemed like our pumps are starving for water. Now, I didn't know what he was talking about, but, and then by noontime, he said, yeah, the pumps are not getting water. So, we called the company that actually installed the well in 2017, and we told him everything that was going on. They too agreed that, you know what, it could be that flap valve. So he said, I tell you what, we're coming in, but we need that well to be emptied, completely empty. So we had to empty the whole well out. He said, now we can come in and drain it for you and sit there and watch it drain and charge you. Or we can walk you through the steps to drain it. So he walked us through the steps. We drained the well all through the night. So that the next morning we could get in there and look to see what was going on. Sure enough, that flap valve wasn't opening and closing. So we had that well was offline. Well, prior to my coming in, this administration, the pump, we have 2 pumps on I-55, the tower there. One of those pumps was down. Found out one of them was not working, so we got Grinder to come in to work with that pump. So we was in the process of working with that pump to put it back online because it was offline. We had gotten Wednesday morning, just Wednesday morning, he came back in because they had worked on that pump and gone down and said we had everything that was mechanically wrong with that pump is fixed. We don't know why the water is still cloudy. Well, 2 days prior, Monday of last week, they came back in. They said Wednesday we'll be coming back to take a sample. Well, Wednesday was the day our pressure started to drop. But they did come in, they took that sample, we sent it off to the lab, and they called back Friday morning and said, good, that sample is good, y'all can put that pump back online. So that's how we got water back in the town of Kentwood. We was able to use the 2 pumps at I-55 to bring the water back to our residents. Years ago, we only had those 2 pumps. Those pumps are old, but in 2017, we did refurbish those pumps. So they was in pretty good shape from being refurbished. And it was able to get us water. I-55 rest area does not have water because to take our well on Avenue D, that's the well that's down, the big well, the 58,000 gallon well, to push that water up to I-55, that rest to give the pressure it need, to push it up there so it's still out. But we're working on that. We took samples today and tomorrow, and we should be sending samples off for the Avenue D well, and hopefully we'll get it back online by Thursday. So that's where we are. We have water in Kentwood. I just want to thank you for all the water that we got. We got drinking water, we got water in barrels. Kentwood Spring Water gave us all the water we need as well. We still got water. Thank the Lord for the water. You know, people are so good to us. We're just thankful. And our residents are, some of them you can't please them all, but then they've never been without water before. But you know, I prayed about it, and I talked to my pastor, but you know, anything that's man-made can fail at any time. So we know that. So it was man-made, and we just gonna repair and fix it and go on. Okay, so thank you so much. We thank you for just being here for us, not just for Kentwood, but for our entire parish. Thank you. And Mr. Joseph, you know I call if we need help, I'll call anytime. Day or night, I will call.
Look,
thank you so much.
Pass on to your little clerk, what's her name?
Danisha?
Yeah, tell her she remind me of a drill sergeant. She wouldn't let go up there. She did a great job.
I know, and Wednesday, every move I made, she was right on my head.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't even turn. But Kentwood came together, we worked with this issue, it was just there.
Yeah.
We were just there. But I do want to say this, and I told Mr. Joseph, we had so many calls from all over the state of Louisiana calling, just what can we do, anything we can do to help Kentwood, are we praying for y'all? So that, and I felt so good about that. But I didn't get the calls from our mayors in his parish. And that kind of hurt me a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because if anybody get out of water in this parish, Kentwood Spring coming to their rescue. We gonna come, okay? Thank y'all so much for that. Any questions about our water?
No, just thank you for your kind words. And,
Thank you.
I'm
You know, we
sure
got the
we
best
as a
water in the
parish,
world.
the administration, of course, took the lead, but I know Mr. Joseph was involved and others, but
Yeah, Mr. Joseph.
just glad we could help and glad it
Mr.
worked out for
Joseph
you
called all
guys.
day, every day. Thank you so much, Mr.
Every day.
Joseph. On another note, we're getting ready for our Mardi Gras parade. The North Tangent Support Group, they have this beautiful poster out. Our parade is February the 3rd, Saturday, February the 3rd. We're getting ready to bring it back, and everything is in order, everything is ready. So I want to give this poster to our parish government, and we just got it out. So we invite you to come up on February 3rd to our Mardi Gras activities. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
May I
Thank
post
you,
the paper
ma'am.
and give it to you?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you have a good evening.
Thank you, man.
Okay, any other councilman privileges? I don't hear any. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Bye, board.
Is there any motion to adjourn? Somebody say it, please. Vote to adjourn, Mr. Havis. Okay, hearing no objections, meeting is adjourned, and we have a fire board meeting.